No, it was not the staff room. Told me which way to go to, and then came back. I don't remember what it said.
I just left from staff room. Because I ran into him in the hallway, told him that we left Charlotte at the front.
By the way, they were just weird enough that they just assume it's us. They just think ours. It was obvious ours.
I'll have you start the live stream.
That's my fault.
Oh, we're live streaming?
No, I like it.
Is this one? No.
Can you hear me now?
Nope.
Good morning, everyone. Anyone else outside for the Crip Kids keynote?
Come on up to the front.
Come on up. You want to see this? There may be food. And come on up if you're going to want some. Okay, so, good morning.
Jenny, I need you to wait just a minute.
I need to wait just a minute.
Thor hasn't given you a thumbs up.
Thor has not told me to
Ring the
go.
bell.
Okay.
To ring the bell.
What do I do?
Ring that bell.
After you're given the thumbs up.
After you're given the thumbs up by Thor, like that.
That. Ring the bell.
Oh,
This
here.
is way too complicated. Now I can go. Good morning, everyone. This is getting way too complicated. Okay, welcome to the, how many have we done? Third, fourth, fifth? Fourth annual Crip Kids. How many here have actually been here before? How many are brand new? Wow, all right. Awesome sauce. So we have a phenomenal keynote this year. I am so excited. I have known this young lady for a couple of years. And last year, she impressed the heck out of me with how she ran first section in the Crip Kids. All right? And it's really hard to impress me. So let's just put that's impressive. I have asked her to do the keynote this year. She's been working on her talk. And I thought it was finally time we have a kid keynote, the KidCon. What do you think? When she is done, we have the Crip Kids area opening up. We have Destruction Village. We will have an awesome crypto challenge this year. You should have fun with that. We have lockpicking. We have snap circuits. We have Destruction Village. We also have a really cool new area called Trash Int, where you can dumpster dive. So, I don't want to go into her time too much. Let's introduce, am I using the name on her slides?
Yep.
This is Berningle. Come on up. And I'm handing it over to you.
Many of you may be asking yourself, what is a keynote? When I was asked to do a keynote last year, the first thing I asked was, what is a keynote. Well, it isn't this. This is just a key with a note on it. And this wasn't my real voice. Just so we all know what a keynote is. A keynote is a long speech performed at a special event in front of a lot of people. It is supposed to help the audience get ready for the event. It could be funny, informative, or boring. I hope to help get you all ready and excited about the 2018 BSIDES DC Kids Conference. And I will try not to be boring. So let's have some fun. Hello world. Good morning. I'm Brooke Mellendick, but my daddy gave me the handle for Dingle when I was very, very little. This is my first time talking to a crowd this big. My job today is to talk to you a little about what I have done, why I am here, and what we will be doing at BSIDES. Why are the words Hello World important for code? This is what Hello World looks like from the Linux terminal. We will talk about Linux in a little while. Most people's first program using code is Hello World, but it wasn't mine. I learned Scratch first. Code used to write Hello World on your screen and make it say Hello World back to you is echo, single quote, hello, comma, world, exclamation point, single quote. If I were a computer program on stage right now, I would be saying hello world. This next section is about how important it is to me to be well-rounded, try new things, and have fun in life. Wasn't I a cute baby? As I got older, my voice got louder and my hair got a lot wilder. I just turned 9 a few weeks ago. I know there are kids out there in the audience that might be younger than me, and older than me, and just my age. There might be things in this talk I talk about that you already know, or you have never heard before. I am excited to share a little bit of me with all of you, but I am even more excited to learn a little bit about you when we get back to KidCon area after my talk. I have to share some crazy, silly pictures, because being busy makes you crazy. In fact, I was a silly kid with like 10 ponytails in my hair in the dunking booth at my school's Fall Fest a couple of weekends ago. It was really, really cold. If I could, I would be throwing pink glitter at all of you, making you sparkly and pink. But my parents didn't think that would be a good idea, so at least you can see the glitter on the screen rather than on you. I love glitter, puff paint, and beads, and fairy gardens. I have a best friend named Emily. We do so many fun things together. I made us matching head wreaths and flower walking sticks when we went to the Renaissance Festival together. I've been coming to KidCon since I was 6. This is some of the fun I had at my first year in Destruction Village. Destruction Village is so cool. If you've ever wanted to take something apart and look at the inside and not get yelled at, well, you will love Destruction Village. I've been running KidCon, the kid version of Wireless Village, for 3 years with my older brother Dylan. He is 10. He is one of my best friends too. Last year, I even got an opportunity to tell the adults how to do some of their challenges in the Adult Wireless Village. But teaching people, especially adults, can be tiring, so I made sure to grab a nap when I needed it. I've been playing piano since I was 4, and I've been in many recitals. I play the guitar too, and play in the school band. I love Legos. Sometimes I follow directions, and sometimes I don't. I love to read, especially with my 2 non-human best friends. I started racing bikes when I was 1, and still love to ride. I swim on a swim team called MBAC. I used to practice the same time as Michael Phelps. Swimming helps me be very responsible with my time and get all my homework done along with all my other responsibilities. Because of all my activities, I'm always on the run, so I thought running cross country would be something good for me to do. It turns out I'm pretty fast. I have fun playing basketball too. I go to a small school and they teach us many things, but especially to be respectful, responsible, and ready to learn. With all of my activities, this is a really big part of my life. I also love to color. I've been creating something that I think is kind of cool, and it is called protractor art. I like learning how to code with Scratch and OSNow. I've been known to be a bit silly, but I love science and math as well as solving mysteries. If you like solving mysteries too, you really need to try the escape rooms this year. I also love to listen to music and watch movies. Lately, I've been working on my piano kit I built so that I could learn to use Linux. Here I am preparing for this talk. That's a Shirley Temple, my favorite drink for making my keynote. The reason I'm telling you all of this is so you can get to know me a little bit better. I think it's neat how we can be creative in art or music or sports or silliness and learn how to do something with that on the computer. I don't just sit in front of a TV or a computer screen all day playing Fortnite. For the last 3 years, me and my brother Dylan have been running the kids' WCTF. I may look like I am good at playing the kids' WCTF, but I am still learning a lot about it. Today we are going to learn through some pictures. Some of the things we use in the wireless village. I will have a picture on the screen throughout my talk. Whenever you see the picture of the play game, like what is shown on the screen, you will need to tell me what the name of the picture is. Sorry adults, only kids can play the picture game. I'll have something for you adults to help with later in this talk. The winners will get a prize, so pay attention. Raise your hand and wait for me to call on you. Let's try the game. What is this? You with the Fortnite shirt.
The internet stick that is up into the cloud.
No, but thank you for trying. You with the gray sweatshirt over there. Yes. Dylan, may you please go give him a patch? We're going to talk about how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. No kids will be harmed in the making of the sandwich. Peanut butter will be substituted for another non-Newtonian fluid. A non-Newtonian fluid is a liquid that has properties of being a solid when you push hard on it, and is a liquid when it isn't being touched. Some examples are oobleck, slime, goo, peanut butter, jelly, and other things with these properties. So my brother Dylan is getting hungry and wants a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but I don't know how to make it. Will you help me, please? Adults. I need 3 adults to come up here, please. You over there. You with the black shirt. And you with the white shirt. These are the tools for today's challenge. Kids in the audience, I need you to tell the adults exactly what they need to do to make a peanut butter and jelly.
Wait, we're supposed to wait until they tell us, right? Okay. I've done it. Hello, I'm Mike. Nice to meet you. That's my son Jacob. See him later.
Hey, Jacob. You ready?
I think we're ready.
These are the tools for today's challenge. Kids in the audience, I need you to tell the adults exactly what they need to do to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Please raise your hand. You with the shimmery shirt.
Here.
Can you give us the first step of how to make a peanut butter and jelly?
You can take 2 pieces of bread and take the jelly and stick the knife in there and take it out with the jelly on it and spread it on one piece of bread. And then take the peanut butter and then stick the knife in there with the side with the peanut butter on there and spread it on the other piece of bread.
Call on somebody else so that I can go.
So someone else raised their hand to make another peanut butter and jelly. You with the blue jacket, how do you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Wait. Where are we on?
Bread. And then take the jar of jelly, unscrew the lid, put the knife in, and spread the jelly on one piece. Then take a jar of peanut butter
He said
and
take the
open
bread.
it.
She didn't tell me to put it together, so don't do it like that.
Okay, I got the jelly. What came next?
I think you did a mistake with what I said.
I heard take the bread and unscrew the jelly and put the jelly on the bread, right? Spread the jelly on the bread.
No.
Okay, what's the next step?
She forgot her step.
I think I might need to redo what I said.
Okay. Good job. We're going to let another person go real quick, okay?
Okay, someone else raise their hand and we'll come back to the middle person. Can I have the girl in the white long sleeve shirt to tell me how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
So you take 2 pieces of bread and put it on the plate, and then stick the knife in the jelly, and then you take out the knife with the jelly on it, and then spread it on one piece of bread, and then take the knife off of the bread, and then open the peanut butter, and then you stick the knife in, and then you spread it on the other piece of bread, and then you put the two together to bread together, and then you can eat it.
Okay.
Okay, now we need one more we need a person to tell us how to make the last peanut butter.
Because she didn't complete mine.
First, we're gonna have someone complete his. Okay, you in the back with the red long sleeve sweatshirt. Yes. Can you tell us how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? I mean, can you tell us the last part for this of how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Come up and see.
I'm pretty sure you just put the 2 slices of bread like that. Okay, now we need another one for the middle table, for the middle person. Who would like to finish her instructions? You with the blue long sleeve shirt. The girl behind the red.
So you take the bread, you get one piece of bread, take it off. Then you put it on the plate, because you can't put it.
They just wanted to get rid of that workspace. They wanted more liability there, but also because the security team wasn't equipped to kind of try to do that 24/7. So this is what our solution looked like. So in the place of So first of all, the log analytics platform is replaced by an elk stack. Anybody, I imagine there's probably some people using elk here. Elk stands in acronym. It's Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. I'll actually show you a live demo of what it looks like. So that takes the place of the log ingestion and analytics platform. And then the data source, the primary data source is the bottom. So we have, so from Windows, we take sysmon events. Sysmon is a new audit log that was introduced in Windows some years ago that gives you incredibly rich detail about almost everything that's happening on a Windows host. We take system logs like application, system, and security event logs. We take Windows Defender logs, which give malware detections. In the Linux world, we have OS Query. We use OS Query, but to that, we started adding audit D data because audit D, if anybody used audit D, so few people. Audit D is almost like the sysmon equivalent for Linux. It gives you an incredibly detailed record of process executions, user commands, network connections, almost any system that takes place. So audit D, and then we take system logs for things like authentication and pseudo activity and anything else. We'll take flow logs. In our case, we're taking a flow log from a VPC in a cloud environment. You can replace that with NetFlow in a terrestrial or non-cloud environment. Firewall IDS events. The IDS events are CloudTrail or StackDriver and Google Cloud or the Azure equivalent. And so this is kind of a high-level diagram. So all this data with Elkworks is all of this data is streamed into a Logstash listener, a Logstash collector by various means. Some of it comes in by syslog, some of it comes in from agents that gather this and send it as JSON. Some of it is a full model we have to connect out to like an S3 bucket and read data from there on some of the major data types. But basically, so all this data is gathered by Logstash, goes through a series of transforms in order to parse the log messages into fields. So we have fields like source IP, guest IP, username, etc. Normalize those fields across event streams. And then all of that normalized data gets saved into an Elasticsearch data store, which is a really, really big service for handling really, really large amounts of data and messages. And then finally, Kibana is the user interface. Kibana is not exactly a SIM tool, but it's a SIM-like user interface into the data, allows you to run searches and visualizations and hunt for threats and run reports and all the things that SIM users want to do. So, in terms of use cases, that's an unfortunate color choice in the font, but what it says on the left is, these are actually, and I'll share these afterwards, but so these are actually, these are the SIM use cases that were defined by Antoine Johnkin at Gartner, who's an analyst at Gartner. He spent a lot of time in the SIM and the log analytics world, and now he's at Gartner. And so these were the major use cases that I had to solve for.
The other thing is, if you're looking to switch industries, this is also a really great way to build experience and expand your network. There's a cyber policy CTF, there is the car hacking, there are energy CTFs. I mean, there is a CTF for almost every single industry. So if you're looking to poke your head into switching industries, you might want to look at one of the Grace Hopper or we got denied for Grace Hopper.
That's a little bit of an inside joke. Yeah, we weren't diverse enough, which is a totally different thing. Anyways, being able, so one of the things you have to be willing to do is accept some rejection. That's all there is to it. You're going to get no's. You're going to get no's. I know some people who every single conference they've submitted to, they've been accepted. I'm like, what is your magic sauce? I don't understand this. You're going to get rejected from a lot of conferences. You're going to get rejected from conferences that you volunteer at that you think, well, they do.
The bottom, we have audit events. And what's useful about this is, so you're looking at the IDS alert, you see that, hey, it looks like you think it's somebody went out and downloaded something by a curl. And that's interesting. And that could be a dropper for a malware detonation, or it could be various things. Or it could just be a human, an ops person going to get a piece of code or a data dictionary. It could be something innocent. An application that uses curl to go and call APIs and web services. So what's interesting about, what's useful about the audit data is audit in the bottom tells us, yes, it was wget or curl, but also tells you the URL that was connected to, and it tells you that the name of the user who did it. So there's a lot more information there in terms of trying to investigate, I guess, what to make a decision. flow data. So these are visualizations of flow data. These are actually flow logs from an EPC. We do the same thing with NetFlow. Do all kinds of flow-based visualizations.
Saying anything to be mean to you, they're just telling you how you might improve your submission. Yeah, that's okay. So another perspective that you need to go ahead and consider. So once you've gotten accepted, right, you've went ahead and you've drawn up this outline. They may have asked you for your slides in advance. You're probably going to alter your slides in advance, or at least get a very solid, detailed outline. Now you've been accepted. So now you know in 2 months, 3 months, whatever the case may be, you've got to basically write this talk. Now you have to write this talk. You have to be able to present this talk. In order to present this talk, you need to practice. You need to practice, practice, practice. If you're putting this off for too long, and some of us might be really good at procrastinating.
You learned about your procrastination tactics.
Oh my gosh, because all of a sudden it's 2 weeks before the event, you haven't written the slide yet. Oh my gosh. So this is something else you need to work on and build from. Practicing speaking in front of people can be challenging for a lot of us. I mean, we as an industry, I think primarily, I mean, if we were to do the research, I think it shows a lot of us are introverts. Getting up and speaking on a stage in front of a group of people, especially your peers, that's terrifying for a lot of folks. It's really not that bad. They're there to hear what you have to say because they're interested in what your opinion is. So that's brilliant. That's a great opportunity for you to be able to expand outside of your comfort zone and build as a human being.
So the other thing about presentations is knowing the CFP timeline. I mean, I just finished doing all of my presentations, proposals for, BSIDES San Francisco and RSA, which are next March. So if you're not doing the research and the time management of being able to think of a year from now, what topic do I want to talk about, you're not going to be able to figure out sort of the timeline of submitting your proposals. And as Cindy said, you have to be able to write what you're speaking about in 6 different ways. You have to be able to do a short abstract. You have to do a long abstract. You then have to convince the CFP review board as to why this is important. Those are the 3 things I had to do for BSIDES San Francisco. And then also, what are some of the objectives that you want the audience to get through? There are many, many different platforms. I wish I could say that there was one way to submit a CFP, but there isn't. So you have to keep in mind, okay, I really like this conference. Next June is ThoughtCon or Circle City Con. Keeping an eye on either their Twitter handle or their website when they say a call for papers is out. And then actually take down the form of what you're going to have to fill out, because sometimes it's a Google form, sometimes it's a conference management software. It's something that's completely, just an Excel spreadsheet. A lot of times in the industry, the proposals are stripped of who is presenting, their social media profile, everything. It is just based on your content. So it isn't just, hey, I did this really great patch and I want to share it with the world. It is being articulate enough to be able to convey your thoughts in 200 words or 500 words, and then being able to spend time on Google Images and figure out what image you want for your presentation. I am, horrible. I will spend, my procrastination is being on Google Images and trying to figure out what sort of image is out there. So I change that all the time. And as Cindy said, it's a lot of rejection. And it's understanding that you might have your feelings constantly hurt because you think that they don't like you. You are not conveying your ideas in a way that your industry peers can understand it. That is a learning opportunity. So Doug, let's talk a little bit about someone who's a big presenter. We had Megan, who was on our panel before, talk about how she submits for all of these different conferences. What do you want to see? What do you want to hear from a candidate that says, I present everywhere? Do you want to hear about, what a great speaker they are, or do you want to go a little bit deeper?
To be honest, I would assume if they're getting the call that many times, they are a good speaker. It's more significant to me that it's the preparation. It is that content preparation. It is creating something, as I spoke about a moment ago, that a broad audience can understand and grasp. And then when I say broad, not just the dummies like me that don't understand the technical aspects of it, but peers. So if you're able to put together that content in a constructive way that you can convey to people, that's significant to me. I'm going to ask you how you did it. What was the reaction? How did the audience take it? What sort of questions were they asking? But then also going back to the things that didn't work, what did you learn from them? How did you become a better presenter? Because at the end of the day, and that's something that we run into all the time, because it is such a technical field, there are folks who are brilliant, can do extraordinary things, hack into things that they really shouldn't just for sport. None of it matters if you can't put it into a format that somebody else can take value from. And at the end of the day, with Coalfire, we were the leading FedRAMP assessor anywhere. So you had to have the technical skills to be able to conduct the assessment, but it didn't matter because the deliverable, the thing that gets paid for, the thing that keeps all the lights on, keeps us paid, goes to a customer who may or may not have the level of expertise. That's a key element. So if you're presenting, you're creating content, you're creating something that others can take in and get value from, that is very similar to the deliverables that you ultimately have to produce for customers. And so those are the areas that I'm probably going to ask you about, and that's where the presentation skills come in handy. Not to mention, when you're trying to get business, when you're the SME that's standing next to the sales guy, and you're trying to explain why your company, your team, is the best one to give them what they need, you're going to have to present. Maybe it's a small room with a half dozen executives, maybe it's a huge room. Whatever it is, if you've done it, that's significant to us.
The other thing to think about when you're doing presentations is understanding if you're representing your employer or not. And that is a big question.
Don't say blockchain. It's not that. Right? But what are we missing? Dashboard, I'll show you. No, so machine learning, right? So machine learning is the thing everyone's excited about, and I think it has great potential. Now, machine learning, there are open source tools to do machine learning with. It's a bit more work to get up and running with those, and I'm not going to try to go into that here. However, I want to leave you with something that you could actually leave here and use today. And then, because it turns out that there is one algorithm in the open source version of ELK called the significant terms aggregation. And it was originally designed as, the reason that they use this analogy is they describe it as, when they describe how it works, it's a statistical algorithm that tries to find heat differentials between background and foreground terms in sets of data. So it was originally designed for fraud detection, but it turns out it's pretty good at things like threat hunting as well, finding anomalous activity. So for example, the CloudTrail issue with the snapshots is a great use case because that's a case where, because if we know what we're looking for, then chances are we can easily, readily write rules and searches and visualizations to detect the threats that we know we need to look for and detect. The problem is, how do we detect, what do we do about the things that we don't know to look for, the things that somebody's going to think up and try something new next week or next year, and we're not going to learn on it because we never thought of it before. So that's a use case, like for example, in the case of the CloudTrail incident, we're doing anomaly detection with an aggregation like this, looking for anomalous commands or anomalous command username or anomalous command and source IP address tuples, because you need to use this on tuples or data pairs. And you potentially find, what it is, you potentially tell you, hey, here's a command I've never seen before, or here's a command I've never seen from this user before, which is really interesting. Another example, if you run this on things like Linux processes, it's actually pretty good at it. Like here, it's found the netcap process, the persistence mechanism, and it's found the data export, the SCP activities, both of which they only occurred between 3 and 4 times, so they were very rare, so they stood out as anomalous. Same thing for network data. Here it found, if you do this on things like processing internet activity, I find that the human activity tends to percolate to the top. It's pretty good at finding that, hey, here's human activity that is really unusual. May or may not be an actual threat, but it's unusual and therefore interesting. In this case, it found a couple of downloads. It found somebody running TCP dump. It found a download by a curl, and it found somebody installing a Python module. So for Windows events, here's another one. In this case, This is actually Mimikatz renamed to Google update.exe.exe again with two extensions. I'm not sure why. But here it's found it because the combination, because Sysmon gives us hashes. If you turn it on, Sysmon can give you hashes for processes that execute in a window. So Sysmon gives you the hash of the image file. So here it's found that, hey, this hash and process name combination is really rare and unusual. And in fact, because it's not actually what it claims to be. So this is a great way of, say if we don't know, because we don't always know, well, what's the name of the malware file going to be, what path is going to execute from, etc. We can't know that in advance. So this is good potential for finding malware. So questions? How much time do we have left? We have 14 minutes. So questions? Yes.
Yeah, do you have data on the actual operational costs you have for your model? I know the 15 slides back, you did the commercial team was operational. I would have thought operational would have been a little bit more time training the team.
Sure. So the question is, do we have hard data? I don't have hard data yet, because what's happened is I actually left this job that I was at in order to pursue this full time. I'm now in the process of getting a handful of environments up and running and getting operational with this. They're not in the 20,000 server fleet range at this point. They're environments that range more between 3 and 10,000 servers. So I don't have hard data yet on what this will cost, but as soon as I do, I'll start to share that. In terms of what this looks like, good question. All right, so the question is, could these use cases be with a more restrictive execution policy? Depending on the environment, yes. If we're talking about a controlled corporate environment where we can apply things like whitelisting policies or restrictive security policies, yes. In my case, running a web property, one of the features of the web property was the ability for customers to develop and run arbitrary programs in certain languages. And so trying to place restrictions on what they could do wasn't necessarily viable. So this is an elk instance. This instance is running in AWS, and it's connected to a couple of, it's connected to a Windows and a Linux instance that are just acting like honeypots in order to give us live data. So we're bringing in all the data types that I described. So bringing in Linux audit begin system logs, Windows sysmon system logs, bringing in Nginx web server logs, Suricata events, flow logs, CloudTrail events, and all of that feeds into a series of visualizations and alerts. So, for example, these are visualizations of the CloudTrail data. I like to start with visualizations and then drill down into more detailed views. And then this is what annual good connection has dropped. While we're reconnecting, this is what the alerts index look like. So in order to do alerts in Kibana, you need a few sidecar tools. So you can use something called Elastic Alert, which is another open source project from Yelp. You can use something called 411, which is, I believe, from Etsy, which has a bit of a UI. Either way, you can. So these are alerts that have been generated and sent to an alerts index for review here. What we typically do with these is, in addition to displaying them here, is either send them out to Slack or to Jira via a webhook for workflow management in Jira, or we could just do it. They can just be emailed. Your workflow is email, but you can do almost any alert workflow with these. This is what the significant terms operating looks like. So here it's doing, in order to use this effectively, it needs to operate on tuples. So it's running on things like usernames and processes and network connections, any kind of data combinations that you can think of. So far with those combinations, I find it's pretty good at finding things like malware, persistent Data Expo. There's a lot of kind of common canonical security detection use cases. I think it has great applications for threat hunting because one of the things people do, like for example over here, you'll see people do a lot of Windows is, these are the Windows events coming from Windows instance. And one of the things people will do is they'll start looking at the least frequently occurring processes in order to hunt for suspicious process activity. And that's really useful, like it's really productive. But I think that if you have time to do that, though, I think that one of the applications for this in terms of algorithm is we can start to speed that up or start to semi-automate that by using the anomaly detection algorithms to find specific processes without having to necessarily dig through and look at these one by one and try to make judgments about which ones are suspicious and worth investigating. This is an event viewer. So I made a conventional event viewer for both intrusion detection alerts and for the flow logs in order to be able to work with those. You can create almost any kind of data visualization or representation here in Kibana. This is the links data. We have processes and commands. So basically, here's everything that's executed on the Linux instance, both the process name and the command path that it ran. And then we have things like processes and network connections. So we can see things like what processes are connecting to what network destinations. Is there a process, and that's another great case for anomaly detection. So if you have a process, say like in a Windows environment, normally only LSAS or one of the other system processes will connect to a domain controller. If you see anything else connected to a domain controller, that's often interesting. In the Linux environment, if you know that your automation is based in Python or it's based in Ruby or something else, then you're mostly going to see those interpreters making network connections to APIs. If you see something else making a connection to the API, or you see something random, or you see one of these interpreters, or maybe just a script, making a connection out to a remote destination, that doesn't really make sense. It's really useful, and it's interesting, and it's really useful to have these events because, again, just looking at network connections, looking at things like flow data and IDS alerts, sometimes it's hard to make decisions about whether the activity you're looking at is normal or abnormal. So with the network data, it's really useful to know the process and the command that was attached to the network socket and the name of the user context that ran. More questions? Here I'm not. So the question is, am I using XPack? XPack is a licensed feature. So XPack gives you some security features, machine learning features, graph analysis, alerting, and number of features. XPack is not free or open source. Bits of it have been open source, but it's not free. It's a licensed feature. Some of the organizations I work with are using it, and some don't. What you see here, I'm doing this without XPack because my original requirement was to do this using open source tools. So in order to do the alerts using Elastic with this.
Is there any room in the cost savings that the cost savings you have? Do you focus any of that to putting money back into the open source tools that you are building your system on?
So the question is, do we have the ability to contribute back? So I think, well, I don't personally have the ability to contribute money back at this moment. However, I think for some of the organizations that I'm working with, I think that's possible. That may be possible.
But I mean, contributions through any means, documentation, feature requests, bug finding, things like that, documenting any of that kind of stuff.
Sure.
When you are selling this to your clients, are you selling them on contributing back to the stack that's making this money?
So, the short answer is yes, we definitely encourage that. I try to contribute ideas and enhancements back to the project wherever I can. And I think, my intention is to eventually to open source all of what's been done here sometime in the future. Probably not until next year, but I do want to explore moving in that direction. We have time for one or two more questions.
So without XStack, you basically don't have any user authentication on that thread. So I can just go on that instance if I wanted to mess with your rights, use your data essentially.
On this instance you see here, give it a try. So there is an authentication layer in front of this Kibana instance. You didn't see it because I logged in before I started the demo.
What are you using for that?
So we're using, in this case, this is a demo. So I'm actually using an Nginx proxy with no default website and no HTML content. The Nginx, it just acts as a proxy. It proxies connections. It listens on TLS and does basic auth, and then it proxies connections to a Kibana instance. So, yes.
You had given cost estimates between the tooling for commercial versus open source. What about the difference in the labor cost?
The difference in the labor cost is interesting. So, the question is, what is the difference in labor cost between commercial products and open source? We projected that the labor cost would be similar. There may be some savings there in terms of, but the short answer is I don't have data for you on that yet. I think it's a really interesting place to measure in terms of is there a cost differential one way or another? Because there's some savings in terms of there's some savings by eliminating product sprawl gives us some savings that we're managing fewer products and we're spending less time in the tool purchasing and management work streams. But there's some operational cost in terms of getting open source tools operating at scale. The training cost for some of this stuff is a bit less because there are training options out there that are priced below ranging between $500 and $750. There's some basic training options available for many of these tools, so it's relatively inexpensive to get up and running. Because these are open source tools and they're so accessible, it's sometimes possible to use slightly less expensive team members. Like you may find it's more feasible to use interns or team members that don't necessarily cost as much as a senior security person if they've had experience with these tools in college or they've just gone and learned them on their own and they already can make some of this stuff work. But to answer your question, it'd be really interesting to measure the cost delta between proprietary and open source, and that's one of the areas where I want to develop the data. Time for one. Who's first? Okay.
So, how do you overcome the typical objection of a place that typically uses closed source tools, including open source tools like Flax or?
So in our case, we were supporting this ourselves. We had the ability to support this ourselves. However, if for an organization that doesn't necessarily want to go that route, you don't actually have to do it yourself. You can actually contract for the elk stack. You can actually buy support from the Elastic product. There's actually a commercial vendor behind it. You can actually buy support from them. You can also use a number of services. There are at least 2 or 3 different elk as a service SaaS offerings where you can consume it on a SaaS basis and not have to operate it yourself. We have 1 minute left. So yes.
To follow up on both of these questions, so the efficacy or the performance of the COTS versus this solution, mean time to detection or remediation, what have you seen as far as how these perform?
So mean time to remediation, or I'd like to talk about mean time to know. That's another case that would be really interesting. I think that in general, our productivity, our speed, our response time, and our productivity in the SOC was higher because we were spending less time on managing tools and more time on doing analysis and threat hunting. We were able to build pretty much almost any kind of search, analytics, or alert that we wanted to. We were able to do without limitations imposed by limitations of the tooling. So it was definitely the response time and mean time to know was definitely better. That was one of the things that kind of sold me on it. Was if we can get faster, we can go faster and have better results at lower cost, then it became very interesting. And we are out of time. I'll stick around. Thank you for coming to the talk.
Even the other one, I think it looks more like the other one seems to be more about make sure that it's tied into all the blocks.
Well, I think you just need a couple more ideas. Like
Yeah.
neon.
And
Cloud trail.
the well, correlation thing that he was talking about, the alien versus predator vaccine. So our other